Hey everybody, it's Daniel here from Mobile Syrup, and I have something pretty cool for you today. This is the LG Optimus 3D, and this is Roger's first 3D phone. It's coming out in the next few weeks, in addition to the HTC Evo 3D, and this is part of Roger's 3D push. And so far, it's a pretty cool looking device. It's got one of those stereoscopic 3D screens that you don't need any glasses for, and unfortunately you won't be able to see the 3D effects on the screen, but suffice it to say it's a little bit more than a gimmick, and I really have enjoyed my time with this device so far. So let's take a look at it. Firstly, this is a 4.3 inch 800 by 480 resolution display. It's quite bright. It's got some good vivid color out there. This is running Android 2.2 Froyo, and it's got a customized skin from LG, and we'll take a look at that in a second. You see these 4 capacitive touch buttons here, and quite the pronounced bezel here. Otherwise, a pretty unspectacularly designed device, and that's not to say it's badly designed, just kind of not very stand out at all among the many Android devices released on the market today. We have on the left side the power and HDMI in, and HDMI out rather, and that's a mini HDMI and micro USB, and these little latches here that come back on to protect the ports. On the bottom of the device there's the battery latch and a microphone. On the right side of the device, this looks like a camera shutter, but it's actually a dedicated 3D button here. We'll take a look. It just says the word 3D, and I'll show you that in a second. And above that we have the volume rocker. On the top we have a power button and the 3.5mm jack. On the back of the device you'll see we have 2 5-megapixel cameras here with LED flash and this cool metal stripe that says 3D stereoscopic, and a mono speaker below it. Now these shoot 5 megapixels by themselves, so you can take single shots at 5 megapixels and 3D shots at 3 megapixels consolidated, and you can also take 1080p 2D video at 30 frames a second, as well as 720p 3D video at 30 frames a second, and the LED flash is there to light up the room. You can see it's a pretty thick device. It's 11.9 millimeters thick, which is compared to 8.5 millimeters from the Infuse 4G, and I have that here just to show you a quick comparison. Both of these are big devices. The Samsung device is a 4.5 inch display, and the Optimus 3D is a 4.3 inch display. You can see they're around the same height, and that's because the bezel on the 3D is a little bit bigger. The 3D also has a front-facing camera, and that looks to be of VGA quality, so nothing really to speak of in terms of that. But let's take a look at the device. Flick it up right there and you get the home screen. Like HTC and Samsung, LG comes with its own weather widget, and it's actually quite attractive. Now you'll see that there are some 3D effects here, and you can see those clouds moving, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty attractive. You can get hourly as well as a 15-day forecast. The internals here are pretty strong as well. We have a dual-core 1 GHz TI OMAP 4430 chipset, and that's got a pretty fast Power VR SGX 540 graphics in there, which I believe is what's in the iPad 2, if I'm not mistaken. As well, you have 512 megs of RAM, and as I said, the 5 megapixel camera, and you also have 8 gigabytes of internal storage. So it's a pretty strong device. It also has a micro SD slot underneath there for added storage. The only disappointing part is the 4.3 inch display is only 800 by 480, but it's pretty vivid, and like the Optimus 2X that I reviewed earlier, it's got some very, very good colors. It's also got decent viewing angles as well. Even though this is not an IPS display like that one, it has some pretty good viewing angles for a TFT display. So you see, this is a Rogers device. It comes preloaded with a few apps of their own, but let's take a look at some of the LG apps. In addition to the weather widget, we also have a messaging widget, we have something very cool. It's called Social Plus, and it lets you consolidate your Twitter, Facebook, and MySpace, and you can set it to refresh whenever you like. And it's a scrolling widget, which is pretty cool, which means that you can actually interact with it on the widget itself, and then to update your status you can choose which service you want. I've only posted Twitter so far, but you can do Facebook as well. You can also resize your widgets if they support it. So let's go with the weather widget here. It'll actually let you resize it. Now these are predetermined sizes, so you can't actually resize it to anything you want, but you can see it supports quite a few iterations and it's pretty convenient. So overall, LG, even though this is running Froyo, they've added a few more kind of fun features there to make your experience a little bit better. Let's go into the app drawer here, and you see this is it's a vertical app drawer that's divided into categories. The one at the top, you have your 3D applications, and there are quite a few here that are preloaded. You have 2 games, or 3 games rather, Asphalt 6, Nova, and Let's Golf 2. You also have your 3D gallery and a kind of portal for all your 3D stuff, and I'll show you that in a second. In addition, you have this Gulliver's Travels ebook that's kind of an interactive 3D ebook, which is pretty interesting. And you may be able to see that kind of flickering. And that's a stereoscopic 3D effect at work. So, a lot of people have labeled the 3D revolution in a way as a bit of a gimmick. I wouldn't say that it really adds anything to the experience from just using your phone on a regular basis, but if you do enjoy the idea of 3D entertainment, and it certainly makes the experience bigger in a way because it's coming right out at you, and I really did enjoy that aspect of it. So when you're watching a movie, it is a bit tiring on the eyes, but for somebody who wants to create a lot of 3D content, it's a pretty impressive device. So you have here the 3D camera app, and this doubles as a 2D and 3D for video and still photos. And you see here you have this left-hand side panel here where you can choose a predetermined setting. You can also choose the image size. As you can see, 5 megapixels is the max for still shots. You have a lot of scene modes. You have your white balance, color effects, timer. You have a lot of settings here that you can tweak. And the camera actually takes really good still shots in 2D. In camera mode, in video mode rather, there is the option to go up to 1080p, and again you have all your little settings here. The interesting part about it is that when you turn it over to 3D, the 3D effect comes into play, and you can start taking your video or your still shots. And the still shots, as I said, are taken at 3 megapixels, but you can play them back on your 3D enabled television or right back on the display here itself. Now, if I wanted to, I can go into my 3D portal, and that's by holding down this button on the right side here, and it's got this cool 3D carousel effect. Again, you can't see that on the camera, but you can see that LG's put a lot of work into making this a usable and attractive space. You have stuff like 3D YouTube, which is basically the regular YouTube app, but it allows you to look up certain 3D effects, 3D videos, and there's a little bit of a shortage when it comes to good 3D content on YouTube. You can certainly upload your own 3D content to YouTube and add to the growing list of videos, and when these devices get a bit more popular, that will increase in size, but overall you're basically stuck creating your own content. Same thing with the image gallery here. I've taken a couple photos of 3D effect using the camera, and it comes preloaded with a bunch of 3D content. Something a little bit curious is this story of Pinocchio in 3D in a cartoon form. A little bit disturbing, but it's definitely a good showcase of the 3D capabilities of this device. And as you can see, as I move it around, you'll see that kind of change positions, and that's the stereoscopic effect at work. As I said, it is a little bit tiring on the eyes, but it takes some getting used to. And it's a pretty nice effect overall. It's got a dual-core processor in here, and it's pretty powerful. We have I have the score here for SunSpider, and that's the JavaScript test that I like to perform on these new devices to test its rendering capabilities. You can see the browser is a little bit different. All the controls are on the bottom, and you have this 3D effect here for the different tabs. It's also got a pretty nice user interface, and you can adjust things like text, and you can block pop-ups inside, and you can enable Flash or put it on demand. This is running Android 2.2, which means that it does support Flash, and as a result, with the high-speed dual-core processor, you will get a pretty good experience with Flash. I'll show you right here the Optimus 3D completed the SunSpider test in 3984 milliseconds, which is an excellent score and pretty close to the Samsung Galaxy S2 that we reviewed earlier, and put it ways ahead of the HTC Sensation 4G and the Infuse 4G. So this is one of Roger's most powerful devices right now, and considering that the HTC Evo 3D runs the same processor as the Sensation 4G, I think that this is their most powerful device going forward into the back-to-school time. So you see, they've also included a bunch of interesting apps here. They've included Angry Birds Rio, which I didn't have to buy, which is nice. I've got a couple different kind of unique features here. They have included something called LG World, which unfortunately we don't have access to for some reason. Maybe it hasn't been enabled yet. So I try to update it. Oh, there we go. So let's take a look and see what it is. Last time I did this, it threw me an error, so we're seeing this live. While we're at it, I just want to mention that benchmarking results are pretty good. This got about a 2300 on the quadrant benchmark test. So let's go and replace that there. Let's see if it works. Alright, so you can enjoy apps, wallpapers, and ringtones. So this is kind of a store that you'd have to register for, pretty much like Samsung App Store on the Infuse. So that's not really that interesting right now. Rogers has bundled a few of their own apps. You have mobile backup, which will back up your pictures, SMS, and any other confidential information to their servers. And I believe it's $10 a month for that service. And if you need some more peace of mind when you're on the go and you don't want to worry about your content, mobile backup is a pretty nice feature. You also have Roto, which is Rogers On Demand, and that's if you're a Rogers customer, you have access to all their partner content. You have My Account, and you have Ringbacks, Rogers Navigator, which is powered by Telenav. You have the Rogers Store and your music, and a couple other things. So a lot of Rogers kind of bloatware additions that were not included on the Infuse 4G. These are, not that offensive to me, but the important thing is that we can remove them, and I don't believe we can. So you see all of these apps, everything here, there are 48 items under here were preloaded on the device. That's a lot of apps to be pre-installing on a device, especially one that has limited app installation storage. A couple of the nice things that LG includes are this Nuance powered voice control, so we can say things like call mom and it'll call home.
Train the system. For example, to dial a name you could say call John Smith Mobile. To dial a phone number you could say call 78197.
So there we go. The speaker quality is also pretty high on there. You have an included video player, and that will consolidate all of the videos here, 2D or 3D, and the quality is quite good. Let me see if I can play back
Oh, it's this way, I think. No, no, it's this one.
We're lost and you own it.
So video quality also pretty good on here. You have a couple other things. We have that weather widget that I referred to. We have remote call, which LG's included, which will allow a service technician to remotely diagnose and support your device. That's actually pretty incredible considering that this is a mobile device. So if you're having any issues, LG's trying to make it as easy as possible to get support. We also have Smart Share, which is a DLNA client where you can stream video, music, and photos to a DLNA supported television or other device there. You just need to be on the same Wi-Fi network, which is pretty neat. You have a news service here. Again, you can, this is powered by Yahoo. So they've gotten a lot of partnerships here with other companies that will kind of increase the quality of your experience. Facebook, this is Yahoo Finance. You got the gallery as well that we're all familiar with. You can see the performance is pretty good. And we got the remote access program just force closed on us. So again, this is Android, this is Froyo. Not the most stable of operating systems. It's since been increased to Gingerbread, which we will see an upgrade for in the near future. LG has promised this. Under the settings menu, we have a couple new things. We have the gesture support. So mobile gestures come in two kinds here. We have mute, which when the phone's ringing you can flip it over and mute the call. And you can also do the same for your alarm. Just flip the phone over and it will snooze your alarm for a predetermined amount of time. Very nice. At the bottom here, this is not editable. I know I've gotten that wrong a few times with Galaxy S phones, like the Samsung Galaxy S2 and the Infuse. Those are editable. I have not found a way to edit these bottom menu items here, so that is something I'm fairly confident with. On the drop-down menu, we have these pre-installed widgets over here, so you can turn on and off vibrate, Wi-Fi, and sync, as well as Bluetooth. This supports Bluetooth 3.0 and Wi-Fi A, B, G, and N, and that's pretty nice over there. So before we get any more rambling, just to show you the quadrant benchmark here, we'll do one quick run of that and give you the results, and then we'll be on our way, because this is already becoming a pretty long video. So while we're doing that, just to show you kind of the back side of the device compared to the Infuse 4G. There we go. Now it looks like also this LG device will be a little bit cheaper. It's going to be, I think, $449 without a term. I'm not sure what the 3-year term is, the 3-year price, but off contract, I think this is going to be $449, $499 at the most. And this is running it's got a 1540 milliamp hour battery. So the battery life's been pretty good so far, as long as you keep 3D to a minimum and you don't have too much stuff in the background. It will last you the whole day. It's also a pretty bright screen here. You can see the whites are pretty accurate, and that completed really quickly. And you can see the results, 2332, and that's stock out of the box. That's a very, very good score, equivalent to most Tegra 2 devices that we've bench tested, such as the Atrix and the Optimus 2X. So that's been a quick look at the LG Optimus 3D, and that's coming soon to Rogers. Thanks so much for watching, guys.